Hey, everybody. So Joe Rogan is in the news today. I'll show you what's going on. Apparently, Joe Rogan says having vaccine passports would move the country one step closer to a dictatorship. The Milwaukee Journal Centennial said critics suggest Rogan should be more responsible with his platform. But Rogan doesn't listen to critics. He doesn't apologize. He never holds himself accountable and dismisses anyone who tries to make him. He says whatever he wants on his podcast with whoever he wants, whether it's Bernie Sanders or InfoWars' Alex Jones. So I wanted to discuss his astrology chart, not just to better understand Joe Rogan, but to help you better understand astrology. Now, this birth chart does not have his time of birth. We know that Joe was born August 1167 in Newark, but we don't know his time of birth. So if you know Joe Rogan's time of birth, please let me know and we'll be able to do a better chart for him, a more accurate chart. So the thing is that the sun, if you notice over here, is at 18 degrees Leo, which means his birthday is in 2 days. But the sun is conjunct Jupiter. So Jupiter expands things. It makes things bigger. So with the Jupiter being so close to his sun, this makes him huge, right? It makes him very, very, very Leo. So that makes his presence really, really big. It really pronounces those Leo qualities of generosity and really being outspoken. Some might call Leos arrogant. I think that to make it in the world today, especially in the cancel culture that we're in, you have to sort of, be prepared to cut off your nose to spite your face. And that's really very clear in this chart with Jupiter really pronouncing that Leo sun. Mercury is in Leo as well. Leo is all about joy and strength exercise. So it's not just expressing, it's the joy in expressing something that might be controversial in some respects. So Mercury is the way that you communicate, the way that you think, and his Mercury is in Leo. So that brings a more fiery approach to his communications. What we also notice is that Joe has a stellium in the sign of Virgo. He has Uranus conjunct Pluto, as well as Venus in Virgo. Now that Uranus conjunct Pluto, that's relevant for anybody born between 1964 and 1967, roughly. So that's called a generational planet, but still, it's very relevant. So Pluto and Uranus both pertain to trauma. Uranus is mental trauma and Pluto is emotional trauma. So with these two planets conjunct, trauma, which many people have, all people have really, for anybody born in this generation, he experienced some kind of trauma that affected both the emotional as well as the intellectual, which makes him very, very, very strong, fearless, unflappable, because nobody's going to put him through what he had gone through before, essentially. Because we don't know Joe's birth time, we're not certain whether or not he has a Scorpio moon. It looks like he does. However, if he was born around 7 a.m. or earlier, he would have a Libra moon. But I think he definitely has a Scorpio moon. So the moon in astrology is about your instincts. It's what's really normal and natural for you. And with the moon in Scorpio, there's a natural instinct towards survival, which would explain his talent in the martial arts and his interest in the martial arts. Additionally, Scorpio loves to dig deep and find out truth. And a lot of what Joe does in his podcast is try to uncover truth. Additionally, Joe's Mars at 11 degrees Scorpio makes a quincunx, that's a 150-degree angle to Saturn in Aries. So the quincunx is an awkward aspect with Mars conjunct Saturn. He might feel as if only he can do something right. Like if you want it to be done right, you have to do it yourself, which might be why he is so outspoken, because he might believe, especially with that Leo energy, that only he can actually speak the truth because he's the only one who has the balls to do it. But again, these aspects, even if they are challenging, they all work together to form the personality. He also has a really, really nice trine between Neptune at 21 degrees Scorpio and that Uranus Pluto conjunction, which makes him not just very, very, very powerful and unflappable, but makes him also compassionate and empathetic to his audience. Neptune rules television, it rules movies, it rules the visual, it rules the energy behind what you're doing. So in a lot of respects, people are very receptive to that power with that Neptune influence, much more than they otherwise would be. And when we look at what's going on in Joe's chart now, the outer wheel pertains to what's going on in the heavens. The inner wheel is Joe's chart. So the sun is conjuncting his Jupiter as well as his sun. So this makes him really, really big now. This gives him more publicity. He's probably noticed that every year on his birthday, he probably gets a lot more exposure. He probably expands every single year on his birthday. And that's because the sun is not just conjuncting his sun for the solar return, but it's also hitting Jupiter, making him expand and grow. This year, it's even more so because Mercury is also in his sign, and that has passed his Jupiter and his sun over the past 2 weeks. Also, what's happening right now is that transiting Venus in the sky right now is conjuncting his Pluto as well as Uranus in Virgo. So Venus brings blessings. And when it's conjuncting a planet, it brings blessings pertaining to that planet. So Venus conjunct Pluto means that Venus is blessing what he brings up that is secret, that is hidden, the darker aspects of human nature, the underworld, all Plutonian stuff. The shit that essentially needs to be dug up is being blessed right now with Venus. Likewise, Venus is also aspecting his Uranus, which is the planet of surprise, the awakening, shining lights on things, shocking people in some respects. So with the dirt that he's digging up, and the wake-up calls he's giving the world, those are blessed. However, we also have Uranus at 14 degrees Taurus, which is making an awkward square to his to his Jupiter, as well as his sun. So what that means is that his expansion in some respects, because of this, may be thwarted, obviously, because of the news aspects, but squares get stuff done. So it's highly likely that Joe's going to be going to the next level this year with this chart. He just has to watch out for the flack that he gets. There will be resistance to his ideas because we're changing our values in the world right now. And it would seem as if Joe is a very big part of that. Thank you for watching my little explanation of Joe Rogan's astrological chart and the transits affecting him right now. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon.